that wonderful fair that we enjoyed. My entire family has been blessed by being here from last night till right now. And just so it's very, very, very clear to everyone that what occurred, what our experiencing no beds last night was God's ordained will. He wanted our strength to be increased so we could look for the bed. So I don't want anybody to feel badly about anything, okay? That's exactly how God wanted it. All right. Today, at this time, we're going to talk about arthritis and how to treat arthritis naturally. Now, I am a rheumatologist, and so what I do every day is treat arthritis and inflammation, pain, stiffness, fatigue, and so I have spent many years studying how to treat this not only conventionally with medications, but also God's way, naturally. And God is very fond of using conventional and natural, whatever it takes to get us better. And so, but he has a simple way that works amazingly. And I've seen it work many times. So we'll talk about fighting food with arthritis. Fighting arthritis with food. Thank you. All right, so let's talk about arthritis and the very beginning, the word itself. Arthro refers to two bones connecting. When two bones connect, that's where you get a joint. And that's where you usually have the inflammation that causes the pain. Itis is inflammation. So arthritis, joint, inflammation, and pain. That's what that refers to. And there are many types of arthritis. How many types of arthritis do we think are out there? A lot? Give me a number. 10, about 10? 10,000. Wow. Somewhere in between that? 300? Okay. Getting a little bit more towards the number. 400? No, go down. Not 400. Lower. Lower than 350, lower than 300. 200. 100. Over 100 types of arthritis are out there. And that's based on many things, the location, presentation, the cause. And so when you see a rheumatologist, we're trying to put the pieces together to see what kind of arthritis could this person have, and if so, then how do we treat it? Now, the most common types of arthritis are ones that you've heard about: osteoarthritis and rheumatoid. Who has heard about those two types of arthritis? Yes, osteo is your wear and tear arthritis. As we're getting older, we're using our joints a lot. Right now your joints are excellent because you're so young, you haven't used them for many years. But as we get older, our cartilage starts to wear out in between the bones. And as the cartilage wears out, the bones begin to rub, we get spurs, and we get pain. That's a mechanical type of arthritis, and it can affect primarily weight-bearing joints, joints that carry weight, like your neck carries your head. That's a lot of weight for your little neck. Your lower back, a lot of arthritis in the lower back because it's carrying all this weight. The hips and the knees, very common places for osteoarthritis. Now, rheumatoid is very different. Rheumatoid is not anything to do with wear and tear or wearing out. Rheumatoid is dealing with the immune system that has gone awry. Your immune system is recognized. The immune system, who knows what the immune system is? Any of my high schoolers, what's the immune system? Have you learned about that yet? Sorry? I heard something. Defense system. Everybody has red cells and white cells. The red cells do what? What do red cells do? Yes, it carries oxygen throughout your blood, all throughout your body to your different organs. The white cells, they are the soldiers. They are the fighters. They fight anything foreign. Bacteria, virus, fungi, cancer cells. They look out for foreign things and they make ammunition in the form of antibodies. And they shoot the bad stuff. Sometimes they look at you and they start to shoot you. You become like foreign to your own body. And that is what we call an autoimmune condition. Your body is attacking yourself. That's what rheumatoid arthritis is. It's an autoimmune. You are fighting yourself disorder, and that tends to be symmetrical. It affects both sides evenly, hands, wrists, and it's multiple joints, and folks wake up and they're very stiff, like the Tin Man, and it takes hours to loosen up, and it affects women more commonly. Oh. Now, the treatments, of course, depend on what the arthritis is. But usually, lifestyle changes are recommended. When you read the research, in all the studies, they always start off with a little blurb, a lifestyle intervention is recommended, but then they go on to the other things that are being studied, because lifestyle is not pushed so hard in conventional treatments. Medications are often used. The most common ones are NSAIDs, non-steroidal anti-inflammatories. And what are examples of non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs? Ibuprofen, naproxen. Tylenol is not an NSAID per se, but it does treat arthritis pain, but different mechanism. And then steroids are often used to treat autoimmune conditions. Physical therapy is a big thing that we use. Physical therapy is very, very useful for increasing mobility and strength. Whenever a joint is, whenever the muscles are stronger, it helps the joint to be more stabilized. So strong muscles are critical to have less arthritis. So exercise, physical therapy is key to help control the arthritis condition. And then surgery definitely plays a role, especially when it's far gone. When it's bone on bone and it's limiting your mobility, you can't walk a block, you can't do your daily functions, surgery can play an important role. So what is the connection between food and arthritis? Well, the answer is inflammation. That's the connection. Food can lead to inflammation, and inflammation is what causes the pain in the joints. So what is inflammation? Well, inflammation, when we break the word down, comes from inflammatio, which means to set on fire. So inside your body, there's a fire going on, or I like to think of it as a war going on, where there is fighting, the white cells fighting with antibodies, ammunition, then there comes swelling and redness and pain. That's what's going on in the joints. It's a natural response that the body has when there's something attacking it. So when you get a bruise, when you fall, and you get a cut, inflammation happens. White cells come, they bring more platelets, they bring more oxygen, they bring different factors to heal up the area, but before it heals, you see swelling, you see redness, you feel pain. That's all inflammation. So that's a natural way for the body to heal. But when it goes on and on and on, that's not, that's when you get a problem. It's just a schematic of the blood vessel and how you can see the white cells traversing the blood vessel wall. At the top left, you can see somebody got an injury. And then when the injury happened or the infection, the white cells began to come through the blood vessel to the area, and they're bringing more blood. So because there's more blood, there's swelling and redness, and then over time it starts to heal, and that's the whole job of inflammation. So acute inflammation is good, but chronic inflammation, days and months and years of just this constant war that really should have stopped a long time ago, leads to damage to organs, to tissues, and leads to symptoms of chronic fatigue. Your body's been fighting this war forever. You're just exhausted. No energy, low-grade fever, and autoimmune conditions. So what are causes of inflammation? Well, there are a lot of causes, and we can start from the outside and move in. Exposure to toxins in our area. What kind of toxins do you think we're exposed to on a regular basis? Pollution, yeah, air pollution, exactly. What other toxins may we be exposed to? Asbestos is not a good exposure, and some folks are exposed to that. Yes, definitely. Yes? Yes. Products that cannot break down and they last forever, these forever toxins from microplastics and the source. Oh, yeah. The blue light definitely affects how our brain interprets night and day and sleep and no sleep. So that is not good for us at all. Cigarette smoke, who said that? Huge toxin, eh? Very, 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 very bad, Johnny. Cigarette smoking. Very huge toxin that triggers disease and kills cells. We also can be exposed to lead in our water and in our soil, and just chemicals that we clean with in our house. You know, many times we're very aggressive with cleaning, that's great, but when we're using these toxic chemicals and spraying, and you know, you can almost, you're inhaling those chemicals and they're going inside and into the bloodstream and into the cells, and over time they build up and you don't excrete them and they make you sick. So your cleaning supplies, you have to take a good look at those. Some of the toxins that we put on our skin, you know, we're innocently putting things on our skin, on our face, and we don't realize that these products have so many different toxins. When you see the ingredient list, they're so long, and there are lots of toxins within those things that we lather on our body all the time and on our faces. In our home, we only put single ingredient items on our skin because that's the safest way, because the skin absorbs so much. You don't want to have those toxins on you. So many toxins all around, things you can think of and things that you would never even guess, but those things can trigger. You are right. And that's why brushing our teeth and flossing is so important. There have been many studies that show that folks with rheumatoid arthritis have a higher rate of gingival disease, and we believe it starts there. Just the inflammation in the gum goes into the bloodstream and triggers this autoimmune cascade. So yes, can start there sometimes. Persistent infections like, chronic gum disease, exactly, hepatitis, and lifestyle factors. Poor diet can trigger inflammation. Poor diet because the foods that we eat, when they're very refined, they spike our sugars, and I'll show you later how spiked sugars can trigger other inflammatory factors to be produced. Okay, and it's important for us to realize that the majority of our immune system is in our GI tract. So when we're eating toxic, unhealthy, unnutritive foods, it helps to trigger inflammation within the gut that goes across the gut barrier into the blood and then in our system. So what are some pro-inflammatory foods or foods that can trigger inflammation? What do you think might be foods that can cause inflammation? Sugars, yeah, sugar is a big, big toxin. And it's important to remember that the sugars that trigger inflammation are not the sugars that God puts in the food, right? God, when he made us, if you look at the tongue, we have a section that's for sweet. So God meant for us to enjoy sweet. That's how we were made. But that's why he put it in the food. He gave us fruits, nice sweet fruits and sweet yams and sweet carrots and sweet tomatoes to help to satiate that desire. When we have sugar that's not bound to fiber, that elevates our sugars too rapidly and can cause the immune system to be activated. Pro-inflammatory foods can activate the immune system and contribute to gut dysbiosis. That's where the gut bugs within our system are off balance. They're not working appropriately. So foods to avoid. We want to avoid refined sugars, as we just said. Foods that cause the blood sugar to shoot through the roof. Foods that have no fiber, because when fiber is bound to sugar, the sugar is released slowly over time. That's how when you eat your apple, the apple has sugar, right? But it has sugar that's bound to fiber. So it just releases the sugar nice and slow, and your sugar level just goes up slowly and it comes down slowly. But when you take away, when you have like, let's say an apple pie, so, or some other thing where you remove the fiber from it, now your sugar shoots up rapidly, you get elevated insulin, and with this rapid insulin rise, you get release of inflammatory cytokines like IL-6, tumor necrosis factor alpha, and these factors can lead to other things like advanced glycation end products, which are bad news for joints. Advanced glycation end products, they stick onto your cartilage and they wear your cartilage away. These inflammatory components lead to pain and disease. Other foods to avoid, processed meats. What are processed meats? Yeah, those cold cuts, yes, that you get at the deli section, you definitely don't want to get those things. Too many preservatives, nitrates, and those are carcinogenic. What's carcinogenic? Yeah, they're cancer-forming. The WHO has clearly stated that these are class 1 carcinogens, these processed meats. They have additives and preservatives. These preservatives really do a number on our gut. Any kind of food that has lots of preservatives do a number on our gut. And also, the artificial flavors and the phosphates definitely damage our gut milieu and lead to arthritis. Yes? Yes, yes. The gut microbiome, it's so vital. Has everybody here been exposed to the concept of our gut being especially important to maintain overall health and the gut microbiome and the bugs in the gut? Yes, I'm glad that most of us have been exposed to that concept because 5 years ago I didn't know what they were talking about. But over the years I think it's become more prominently spoken about that inside of our guts there are good bugs and bad bugs. And those bugs play a vital role in helping to determine our health. They help to keep our gut barrier, the lining of our gut, nice and healthy. But when it's not healthy, then we have these gaps in our gut wall, and we can have toxins and inflammatory components traverse and go into the blood and affect our immune system. So we want to also avoid, processed meats. We want to avoid processed sugars, right? So refined sugars, processed meats, and trans fats. Trans fats affect the way our cell membranes function, and so our cell membranes, all our cells have membranes, right? And if trans fats are affecting how the membrane functions, it affects what's inside the cell, how it works. Yes?
What can you define trans fat?
So there are different types of fats, and it's determined by the amount of bonds in between the carbons, and so trans fats are fats that don't break down very easily and can lead to buildup and damage of cell walls.
I don't know. I think probably the idea that you reuse oil is not trans fat.
So it can lead to the creation of. So if you expose oil to very high temperatures, so that you start to see it smoking, that's bad, bad, bad. You should not see your oil smoking. That you will start to create advanced glycation end products and trans fats within. It will change its configuration. And also reusing the oil because of frying can lead to increase of those types of fats in the oil. So we should try to avoid frying as much as possible and reusing oil. Definitely. Definitely. And not only does it affect the cell membrane, but it can stimulate the production of other inflammatory components like TNF-alpha, IL-6, and C-reactive protein. Now, we've realized for a while that trans fats are bad, and so the FDA banned trans fats years ago, but because they help to make products so soft and yummy, and the texture is different, many companies still use them, but at a rate that once it's not above 0.5 grams per serving, then they can get away with it. So there's still trans fats in many foods, but they're not allowed, they don't have to list it if it's below a certain amount, which is not good for us. And so what foods are those? Microwave popcorn. So we make our own popcorn. I have a popcorn connoisseur there. He makes great popcorn and can flavor it well. We just have an air popper that we put the non-GMO, non-GMO popcorn in, and we pop it, and then he flavors it. Fried fast foods, the high temperatures that they're exposed to. So we don't want to get our fries from the fast food stores. And shortenings and margarine. Those still have trans fat in there. So we want to avoid, what do we say, processed sugar. What was the other one? So processed sugar, processed meats, trans fats, right. So that's 3 things, right? Is that 3 things we've said so far? We have to remember them. So refined sugar, processed meats, trans fats. Okay, good. You guys are great. Now, the next thing is highly processed foods. That's pretty much our life in America. When you're busy, you need highly processed foods. Eh? It seems that way. But actually, God's natural food is actually just as fast as highly processed foods. Now, we're going to talk about that. How can we change our culture to eat more of God's food as opposed to damaging food? So highly processed foods like packaged snacks, instant noodles. Ooh, that's a big one in our house. Instant noodles. But I don't buy it as often, but instant noodles, yeah, very processed. Once my kids were fasting for a blood test, and they don't like to fast for blood tests. And so one of my kids, he was like, oh, I'm dying. And he took a little bit of ramen noodles and ate it, and he got his blood drawn after much struggle. And when we got the lab results back, his triglycerides were through the roof. So the only thing this child had was ramen noodles. And it made his blood sugar, his triglycerides, completely off the chart. So these processed foods really are damaging to our system. Instant noodles, and they often contain additives, preservatives, emulsifiers, which definitely destroy the gut-brain barrier and the immune response. And alcohol. You know, for many...
That would be all the canned foods, right, as well? The food that is in cans.
No, so...
A lot of salt, typically a lot of...
So, okay, so like canned beans, I tell folks if they're going to use canned beans, they should wash, well, try to get the low sodium, wash it off, or get the Eden Valley canned beans. But some folks, I always have some canned beans for like emergencies, and then I wash off. But those are not the highly processed foods that they're talking about here. These are the foods that, like they said, the packaged snacks, you know, that, and the instant noodles and those types of fast foods. Chips, there you go, your chips. Mm-hmm, I know.
Now, gout, is it part of arthritis?
Yeah, gout, very painful arthritis from lots of acid in the body and inflammation. Yeah, that's part of one of the arthritis.
Are there any of the kind of the fun vegan, vegetarian things that you would say is okay to indulge in? You know, like the Beyond Burgers or the avocado oil. You know, because I sometimes want those kind of schmucks.
Mm-hmm, of course, I hear you.
I don't want to live, I mean, you know.
No, I hear you. So yes, it's important for us to realize that those are not whole, they don't fall in the whole food category. Those are the bridge that we're kind of walking over as we get onto the other side of whole food. But when you're leaving a diet that you've been used to, let's say meat or meat, and you want something to kind of bridge you over, I'm not anti those foods as long as you are mindful to make sure it's not often.
I mean, I grew up on big grains.
Yeah.
Talking about and you seen it. So I wasn't like coming from meat too bad. It's like, you know.
Yes, and those are really meant to be just temporary. They shouldn't be lifelong. So eventually we do want to get, especially if we find that we struggle with disease of any kind, inflammation, autoimmune conditions, we do want to get beyond those. I think they're okay for a time, especially if you're in okay health, but when we're talking about arthritis and sickness and disease, we have to see, okay, what whole foods can replace those? Yeah. Yeah.
Just for clarity, all pasta would fall under what you would consider like
Okay, so pasta is, does anybody here make pasta? You make it from scratch? No. Okay, nobody makes it from scratch. Okay, so pasta is usually grain, if I'm, please correct me if I'm wrong, but it's grain that's mixed with liquid, and it's grain that's pulverized or turned into a powder, mixed with liquid, and then you put it into some kind of machine to get it to come out as those long things or whatever shape you want. So if the grain is very processed, then that's the problem. So if it's a grain, let's say white pasta, where they've removed from the wheat, they've removed the fiber from it, and now you're left with just the refined part, then that pasta will be bad. But there are healthy pasta. There are all kinds of pasta, actually. There's brown rice pasta. There is sweet potato pasta. There's lentil pasta. There's a litany of pasta out there because the substrate is made from a healthier food. So you would look for that. Mm-hmm. Oh, cassava pasta? What? That one sounds good. Yeah. It tastes good? Where do you get that from? Okay, nice, awesome. Yeah, so it's actually what it's being made from. That's what you want to look for. So you don't have to throw your pasta out, but it has to be a healthier option. And I'm sure you can have whole food pasta because it's just, yeah, you can make it in your house. So there can be a whole food option. Alcohol, for many years, oh, yes.
Basically new to the U.S. culture and thing. So what I noticed, and probably you need to talk about a little cheese.
Yeah.
Cheese is on everything. You know, and it's as if you can't get rid of it.
Yeah, cheese is very yummy and very addictive and very disease promoting. I have folks that tell me, I'll give up meat, I'll give up anything, but don't let me give up cheese, please. Because it's like, it tastes good. It tastes great, but cheese comes from dairy, and dairy in many individuals causes disease because of many factors. The unhealthy nature of the animal, the casein, the protein in the cheese that comes from the milk, and then the things that came from the animal, like the hormones, the antibiotics, the illness, those all are a perfect storm for disease. Not everyone gets sick from cheese, but it's often a culprit in autoimmune conditions. Yes, so yeah, we do not eat cheese, in our family. We're vegan. So they were raised vegan.
You make your own ones? You make your cheese?
Yes, I make cheese. I make
So-called cheese.
yeah, so-called cheese from cashews, from sesame seeds. Seeds and nuts can make any dairy or any. And that's a great thing when you go whole food, you learn swaps. Like, how can I change something that I love and make it healthier and still love it? So alcohol is very dangerous. For many years, there was this mantra that a little bit of alcohol is essential for good health, and we were all confused, like, how could this be? Alcohol is supposed to be healthy, but yet it's not healthy. And now the WHO is saying, listen, this thing is dangerous. Alcohol, even in small amounts, is a toxin, and it's not recommended. It damages the gut lining and promotes leakage of toxins through the gut lining, and it's inflammatory. So that is an issue also with inflammation and arthritis. Dairy, I ask my autoimmune patients to get off dairy to see how their disease does, because it can promote inflammation. And unfortunately, the cows here in America have a form of casein, which is A1 casein, which is more inflammatory than the cows in Europe. I don't know why. Is it the way that they're treated and raised? But the milk from the US cows tends to be more inflammatory than other animals and than the... Huh? I'm still not drinking it. That's good. That's good. It's not wise. especially when you have autoimmune conditions. There is research to show that there may be this thing called molecular mimicry, where the proteins within the milk can resemble the proteins in the cartilage, and so your body attacks or makes antibodies towards the milk, and those antibodies come back and attack your own joints. So that can be an issue with rheumatoid arthritis. So RA patients should get off dairy. Sure. So when you watch the series, The Blue Zones, you'll see that in the blue zones are regions of the world where people live to be 100 and healthy and strong. And in Icaria, Greece, and there's a place in Italy, I think, Sardinia, Italy, those individuals, they live to be old and very healthy, and they do have an amount of wine, and they do have goat's milk every day, or sheep's milk. But it's the entire context of how they're living, from my observation. There are many factors that help them to live for a long time, and he brought all those out. The community, the slower pace of life, the stress level is like down to 0, and the food is whole. They're growing their own food. They don't have these toxins in the food and in the environment. So even though alcohol is a toxin, it does have resveratrol, which is anti-inflammatory, which you can get from grapes anyway. So they do have this alcohol intake with some toxin intake as well from it, but the overall picture allows them to outdo that potential toxin, because their lives are just so different from ours. In summary, the worst diet for arthritis is a SAD diet, the standard American diet. High in processed carbs, sugar, animal protein, fried food, dairy, chemicals, and preservatives. So that's the diet you want to avoid. So what's the best? Okay, sure. So you said you have OA, and you were told that oxalates can make your OA worse. Okay, so oxalates can be a problem in certain individuals, because some folks can make oxalate kidney stones, and they can have more kidney stone formation. Certain folks can have more inflammation, like individuals with autoimmune conditions. Oxalates can make that worse. I didn't come across it making OA worse, but I'm not saying it can't, but I haven't come across that oxalates making osteoarthritis worse. But there are some foods that are higher in oxalates, like rhubarb and spinach, that I have my lupus patients and my autoimmune patients have less of. The oxalates can affect the way you absorb certain nutrients, like your irons and your vitamins. And so sometimes some simple things like making sure that we prepare food in certain ways to help decrease anti-nutritive values or properties, or decrease oxalates, can be helpful. So, for example, if you want to decrease oxalates, yes, have less spinach and rhubarb. Not all vegetables have a high oxalate, only some. But there are certain foods, let's say, that may have lectins in them, or other things that can decrease nutritional absorption just by soaking certain foods. And I don't know if you guys are familiar with soaking and sprouting. That can decrease the amount of anti-nutritive value of some of our plant foods. But yeah, for the oxalates, if you have kidney stones, yes, you'd want to decrease your oxalates, and if you have autoimmune conditions. But you can still eat a lot of other vegetables, like your kale and your tons of others. I think beet greens may have more oxalate, but there are other greens that you can eat. So what is the best diet for arthritis? It's the OG diet. And my kids are like, when I say OG, they're like, Mom, you're not like young, so don't say OG. But OG is the original diet, right? The diet from the Garden of Eden. And that's what God wants us to eat so that we can prosper and be in good health, even as our soul prospers. So that's high in fruits, vegetables, legumes, whole grains, seeds, and nuts. So what does that look like? Okay, so here it talks about omega-3. And we've seen that omega-3 can help with its anti-inflammatory properties, right? By reducing certain cytokines and helping to increase certain things like resolving inflammation and decreasing prostaglandins. And so then some folks may ask, then, where can I get omega-3 from? Do you guys know where you can get omega-3 from? No. You don't know? Flax seeds, yes. What else? Chia seeds, yes. Anything else? Salmon, yes. You can get it from your fish. What else? Pumpkin seeds, probably has some omega-3. It's not high. The nut that is high with omega-3 would be like your walnuts. So like your chia seeds, walnuts, and flax seeds. Do you know how to use flax seeds? Do you guys use flax seeds? Yeah. How do you use it? You grind it down, your whole flax seed. Why can't you take whole flax seeds? Yes, there you go. So if you take the flaxseed whole, it will pass through your stool and you'll see it right there in the toilet bowl. You won't get the benefits that you want from it. So you need to grind it up. So I have a coffee grinder just for flax seeds, and that's our flaxseed grinder. So I put the flax seeds in there, grind them up, and that replaces my eggs when I'm baking. And you can also use the flaxseed, let's say if you want to make a gel for your face or for your hair, you can boil it. But I have my patients who suffer with rheumatoid and hypertension. I have them take 2 tablespoons of flaxseed every day. 2 tablespoons of ground flaxseed every day if you have high cholesterol, hypertension, or inflammatory arthritis. Because the fiber pulls the cholesterol out of your system. The omega-3 helps with the inflammation that you may struggle with. And the fiber helps with constipation. So if you're constipated, have hypertension, have autoimmune conditions, have high cholesterol, 2 tablespoons of ground flaxseed every day.
How do you make that? They mix it with something?
All right. Tell me, how would you take 2 tablespoons of ground flaxseed every day? How would you do that?
It was a spoon.
You would put yours in water and drink it? You could do that. It may not be fun to do all the time, but you could. You could. How would you do it?
I use my, of course, almond milk or milk.
You put yours in milk? Yeah, you could mix it in your almond milk or your cashew milk. How else would anybody use it? You put it on what? Sprinkle it on your oatmeal, on your cereal. Put it in your soups. Use it to bake. When I'm making waffles for the kids, I use flax seeds in the waffles. Anything I'm baking, flaxseed is the binder for me. So, yes.
When you bake the flax seeds, it loses properties. Actually, like a low temperature.
Low temperature. Okay, I'll look into that one because I use it to replace eggs all the time. So maybe what might be unstable, maybe the omega-3, but I think the fiber would probably still be there. So maybe the omega-3 might decrease a little bit. So thank you, I'll look into that. Oh, the oil.
Well, that is what we're imbibing in that omega-3.
Even though in the seed, I wonder if it's more stable because it's in this more natural environment. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because the oil is. Yeah, I think the fiber will still be there. Maybe the omega-3 part may go down a little bit. Yeah, so maybe you could make it put it on your oatmeal or in your milks. But definitely getting into the habit of using ground flaxseed on a daily basis can be a game changer for many people. I'll take her hand and I'll take yours.
What's the difference when you buy the ground flaxseed and you ground yourself?
Sure, so when you buy the ground flaxseed, you don't know how long it's been there, ground, and it can oxidize after a while. So if you grind it yourself today, you know it's fresh. Because when it stays in the seed for, it's preserved. Nothing's happening to it. But when you grind it up, right there is fresh, so it's not going to oxidize. You can grind up and put it in the fridge for a few days, and it will still be fine, but I wouldn't keep it for weeks and months. So you just don't know how long it's been ground up for. But you could buy it ground up if it's easier for you. I mean, that's a way to start. It doesn't have to be complicated. You can buy it that way to start. All right, so, okay, fruits and vegetables. Fruits and vegetables. So important to be the foundation of a diet for anybody who is sick with autoimmune condition, with arthritis. Fruits and vegetables. Now, how much fruits and vegetables should you be eating? Well, let me tell you why it's so good before I go into that. They have antioxidants. What are antioxidants? What are antioxidants? Yes, very good. The antioxidants they're in your body, and they're fighting free radicals. They're binding them up and they're taking them out. Free radicals are like these gangster molecules that move around within your system, damaging your DNA, damaging your cell membranes, just causing havoc, causing cancer production. Free radicals go and bind them up so that you have less damaging toxins within your body. So fruits and vegetables are high in antioxidants. And those antioxidants are things like vitamin C, carotenoids, flavonoids. So that's why it's so important to eat lots of fruits and vegetables to get these antioxidants. They also have anthocyanins that help to decrease inflammation. You find those in your berries, your strawberries, your blueberries. And then vitamin C also helps with your cartilage to be healthier. Helps with healthy cartilage. So how much fruits and vegetables should we be eating? Well, when I tell you, you're going to be shocked. The WHO says that children should be having 5 servings of fruits and vegetables every day. A serving is a cup. Women should be having 7 servings. Men should be having 9 servings every day. 9. So, how are we doing with our servings of vegetables? And that's just to maintain health. That's not if you're sick. That's just to maintain health. No, a variety of fruits and vegetables. So as women, we should be having at least 7 servings of fruits and vegetables every day. So I try to get 3 servings of fruit. So at least I have that knocked out. Then I have 4 servings of vegetables left to have for the day. Yeah?
Yes. Define serve.
A cup. We need to be having a lot. A lot, a lot. Is anybody here having that amount? Yes.
Cumulatively vegetables and fruit.
Yes, yes.
That's just like a lot of fruit.
Yes. Combined, fruits and vegetables. 7 servings of fruits and vegetables combined every day. So if we are not, and this is the WHO, they're saying that's what we need just to maintain health. So if we're not there, that's where we should be aiming for. That's where we should be aiming for. And the types of vegetables, it doesn't really matter. You need to have a rainbow of all types and all sorts. But the cruciferous vegetables are just known to be super amazing to fight cancer. Very amazing. And they're also very good in arthritis. So they're amazing detoxifiers. They reduce inflammation and they fight cancer. High in fiber, vitamin C, vitamin K. And it's not hard to get the servings you need if we're intentional. So let's say we got our 3 servings of fruits in the morning. When it comes to lunchtime, our biggest part of our meals should be our vegetables, right? Should be a lot of vegetables. So like broccoli, cauliflower, tomato, kale, spinach, Brussels sprouts. That's half your plate. That's a nice 3-4 cups there. Then you add your grain and your bean, and you're full for hours and hours and hours and hours.
If you are diabetic, you eat those many fruits and vegetables a day?
So if you're diabetic, and you are, one of the foundational treatments for diabetes is a lot of vegetables. a lot of green leafy vegetables. So that should be the predominant part of your meal, and then your protein and your whole food starch. Whole food, not processed. Because you don't want your sugar to be spiking, and these foods are very high in fiber. And if you eat that way, it will clean out your insulin receptors and allow you to be more insulin sensitive. And then you'll be able to tolerate sugar better. And then the fruits that a diabetic should be eating would be fruits that are low in the glycemic index. So your berries, apples, pear, non-ripe fruits. You don't want ripe fruits like ripe bananas and mangoes and pineapples. But berries, that's what they recommend for diabetics. Berries, apples, pears. But a lot of vegetables, leafy green vegetables. So we spoke about the servings and grains, whole grains. Very important to have whole grains. And, you know, when Sister White got her diet reform message in 1863, one of the things that she was taught is that we need to be soaking our grains and our beans for a long time and cooking our grains and our beans for a long time. And nowadays we're hearing lots of information about lectins and how we need to be soaking and sprouting, and it's becoming more obvious that that can help make the gut microbiome, the gut lining, healthier when we remove those lectins that are in these plants by soaking, sprouting, and cooking at high temperatures. So grains are very important, but we want to be sure to cook them the right way to remove products that can be harmful, like phytic acid that stops absorption of iron and other compounds that could be difficult for us to digest. Beans are a superfood, right? They're a superfood, and we want to eat beans every day, as much as possible. They're very high in fiber, magnesium, iron, and zinc. And isoflavonoids can be found in your beans, like your soybean. Lentils are very high in iron and protein. So if you're suffering with iron deficiency, you want to increase your lentils. Have a cup of lentils every day. Add your molasses, which is the highest plant source of iron. Have your dried fruits like your dates. And when you soak your beans, you help to remove the oligosaccharides that causes the gas and the discomfort that some folks can have. And nuts and seeds. How much nuts should be eaten every day? Yes, a handful. And diversity is the best. So different types of nuts, different types of seeds, but a handful is going to go a far way. These foods are power-packed with protein and fiber, but they also have a good amount of fat. So if we have 3 and 4 handfuls of nuts, we're going to put on weight. So we don't want to overdo it. It's not a snacking food for us to sit and just snack on nuts in front of the TV. That's not a good idea. All right. So I'm going to stop here, and what I want to do now is just talk about ways that we can kind of adopt this type of eating pattern. It can be very difficult for some people, and we can talk about difficulties and maybe tips and share how could we possibly adopt a whole food plant-based diet to be healthier.
What can you say about oregano oil and
So
flaxseed oil?
oregano oil is known to be very good as an antibacterial. It fights infection, antibacterial, antiviral. They give oregano, many chicken farmers give oregano oil to their chicken to fight viruses. So we use it in our home to fight virus. When we feel something coming on, we take oregano oil. Tommy, what's up? We use oregano oil in our home to fight virus when it's coming on. So I have the oregano oil pills that we swallow. So the minute you feel something coming on, anything, we just take a pill or two. We can also, we have the oregano oil itself. I put some drops in water, and we just drink it down. I think, yeah, black seed oil has antioxidant properties also. I don't use that one in our home, but it's good for antioxidant, anti-inflammatory properties. I think it's from sesame seed, I think. I'm not sure where that one's from, but it can help with anti-inflammatory properties. Black seed.
Can you take the oil and rub it on your knees if you have arthritis?
So many oils have medicinal properties. I do not recommend black seed oil because I've just not been familiar with it for arthritis. I have my patients try castor oil because that can help with pain. So my patients will use I'll tell them to use castor oil as a rub, capsaicin as a rub, but I've never had them try black seed oil. But I'll look into that one.
Yeah, because there's something I see now in pill form, oregano oil and black seed oil that is going to help your gut.
Yeah, okay, that part I can get to help with the gut, to help decrease back. You can take oregano oil for a long time though, because it's very powerful. So it will kill your good bacteria if you take it for more than like a week. I don't take it for more than 7 to 12 days. It's very strong. So I wouldn't take it every day.
Does it help with arthritis though?
Indirectly. It's more to kill bugs, so indirectly it will treat the arthritis.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You were asking me where do I get the oregano oil from? I just get it from a good distributor. I think I get mine from, I forget the company. Oh man. But I mean, you can get it online from a reputable company, but I forget the maker of my exact oil. Amazon sells decent ones? Oh, okay. Oh, she had her hand up. Let me hear what she, go ahead.
How do you get the 50 to 70 grams of protein per day on weight, 0.8 to 1.2 grams per ounce of, pound of flesh? That's a lot.
70 grams?
I mean, when you show the last slide about
Oh.
the recommendation of how much protein, I think there's a lot of arguments in both these circles whether it really is the optimal amount of meat, even though most dietitians agree you want 0.8 to 1.2 grams per kg. It's just, I'm just saying it's been a challenge for me to put that many grams together.
Yeah, so you probably wouldn't need 70 grams unless you're super, super, super active and doing lots of heavy lifting all day long. I think those higher amounts would be for individuals because the amount of protein we need depends on our makeup and what we're doing all day long, if we're athletes or construction workers. So I would not think you need so much. The lower end should be fine for the average person. I would say 45 to 50. And let's see, how could we get that? So let's see. You have your calculator out? All right, so let's look at the high protein plant foods. So let's say for breakfast, let's see. I used to have okay. If oats, chia seeds, almond butter. Okay, let's go back. So let's say in the morning you chose to have a cup of soy milk, that's 8 grams. And you wanted to have, where's my oats? I don't think, oat is not a high protein food, so what is here? You wanted to have a cup of oats, 6 grams. So, and you're gonna put a little bit of nuts on there, right? Because you wanna diversify your meal. So you're gonna put 1 ounce of nuts, that's 6 grams. And then because you're taking chia seeds every day or flax seeds, you're gonna put 2 tablespoons of flax seed, that's 5 grams. So that's your breakfast, and of course you're gonna have your 3 fruit. I don't have a listing of how much protein is in fruit, but protein has fruit. Fruit has protein too, so just put 5 grams because you had your 3 pieces of fruit. Are you adding? Yes. Okay, so now you go to have your lunch, and you're gonna have your half a block of tofu. Is not hard to have. So you have 20 grams there from your half a block of tofu, and you're gonna have a grain. Let's say you're gonna have quinoa, so you have 8 grams there from your cup of quinoa. And of course, you always wanna add extra nutrients, so you're gonna put some pumpkin seeds now, so you have 7 grams. You're gonna have your salad, a lot of salad, And there's protein in that too, but not a lot. So let's say you got 5 grams from your 4 cups of salad. How much protein have you eaten now?
70, I think you're being very generous, but
How much? 70 grams?
70.
Oh, okay. So if you don't want to eat that much,
And just eating half a block of tofu and those things.
what happened?
I think that's, I would argue that, in the amounts, I just don't know.
Well, you know what? I have a talk where I stress the fact that we are not, we're not eating too much, we're just not eating enough. We need to eat more. And eat more of what? Not bread and pasta and cookies. We need to be eating a lot more of nutrient-dense foods. And I think we probably have to educate ourselves daily on how can I get more nutrient-dense food. So if I focus on nutrient density, I'm focusing on colors. So like, my very colorful vegetables and fruits, bringing in my nuts and my seeds, my high-quality proteins like my beans, my lentils, my tofu. You can get your protein. Remember, there are lots of athletes, world-class athletes who are plant-based, and they are buffed. You can definitely get your 50 to 60 grams. They're getting their 70 grams, and they're eating a lot. Like there was this guy, there's this NFL player, Tommy, this NFL guy, football player, here in New England. He was like the star. Yeah, he was plant-based for a while. He may still be, I don't know. He was plant-based for a while, and he was eating healthy, nutrient-dense foods, and he was doing well. It can happen. It's just that we're used to only eating like a little bit of this, a little bit of that. No, we need to eat.
I can believe it happens. I'm just saying that it's not day to day. You can, you have to even be selective, I think, on the beans. You want something with a higher protein.
Yeah.
100 grams. You know what I mean? If garbanzo's only 8, I'm going to say, ooh, super high protein, but if you pick a different legume, it's 30%. You know what I mean? So people have to be educated more on the types
Yes.
that are less likely than that.
Yeah, and we have to be intentional. Planning for tomorrow today. So thinking ahead, what am I going to eat tomorrow? Am I going to diversify my beans? Am I going to add my flax? Am I going to add my chia? Am I going to make sure I have my nuts? Like you always, when you eat, it should be very diverse, and it should be nutrient dense. And we have to eat more. Not necessarily more junk, more real food. But yeah, we can get there.
Okay, so the chia seeds, they're these tiny, tiny little seeds.
Yes.
And they do grow if you put them in liquid. Someone that I spoke with, she had a problem with the liquid. She couldn't have that in her gut because she was told that if she swallows the chia seeds, then it would go in her stomach and cause problems.
Oh, she probably had diverticulitis, and they want her off all seeds and nuts because if particles of nuts or seeds get into her outpouched colon, she could get diverticulitis and have a flare and go in the ER. So the issue is to have your seeds and nuts well ground if you have diverticulitis. And you know what causes diverticulitis? A lack of fiber. It's folks who don't have enough fiber who get that. So the more fiber they get, the gut will heal and the diverticulitis will go away. But it's the lack of fiber that causes, because of the increased pressure from constipation and food not moving through properly, that's how they get that disorder. So the key isn't really to, yes, while you have it, you need to avoid nuts and seeds or make sure they're ground up very well. But to heal that, they have to have a very high fiber diet. A lot of fiber, a lot of vegetables.
But the swelling, like the seeds swelling inside, something about getting stuck in her throat, if it's that it would swell in her body, but it should go through if she has enough fiber, right?
Chia seeds don't usually swell in the stomach and cause blockage. It's like slippery, it just comes out.
So I think she just has a
Fear of seeds and nuts because of her diverticulitis. People with diverticulitis are very careful about it. Because when you have a flare, it's extremely painful. So they don't want anything to do with seeds and nuts. Yes, you had a question.
Dr. Maybe you may come a little closer as I don't have a microphone, but can you maybe explain a little something about complete protein? I remember when I started my journey in Sweden 50 years ago, and I went to my first vegetarian cooking class. It sort of still rings in my ear that, the combination of beans and rice, for example, makes a complete
Yes.
protein. Is there something to it, or
Oh,
it
yes,
just if you eat
sure.
the variety, as you say, of everything that
Yes.
it comes out? God has made
Yes.
to compensate whatever.
Exactly, exactly. So I used to think too, back in the days, that you had to combine it on the plate at the time, the different
Yeah.
plant proteins to get a complete protein, your beans, your rice. But now we know that it's just eating a diversity of plant foods over the day, and they will form together
body
with
makes-
inside.
Isn't it
To,
amazing
yes,
how
yes.
God
So,
designed that?
so we don't have to be so nervous anymore. But I used to have that same concern, that same concern. Yes.
I have a question. You said we need to eat more. I am not usually hungry. Not usually hungry and very busy. So food is like secondary, which is not good. So how, like, I eat because I have to, as it is. So are there any ideas you can share to like increase your appetite, your desire for food? I like to cook, but I don't like to eat.
Okay. So do you find that because you're so busy, you're eating at the end of the day when things slow down?
Yes.
Okay, so that's where you have to change your course, not eat at the end of the day or late in the night, but bring it in earlier. So how can you do?
For example, my husband will pack my breakfast, my lunch, my everything, but I won't eat till 3 or 4 o'clock when the students have left, because I don't have time to eat. So I will eat at 3 or 4 o'clock, everything that's in my lunch bag, and then I'm not going to eat again because I'm not hungry the rest of the day.
Okay, so then that's the only time you eat? You don't eat after that? So you only eat between 3 and 4 every day?
Around, yeah.
That's the only time of day you eat?
Yeah.
So after 4, you're not eating anything?
Oh, no, I'll eat something. It won't be a meal.
Okay.
It won't be a meal. And it won't be snacks either. It will be like, if I go home and I cook for the family, I'm going to have a little bit of whatever I cooked. Or I'm going to just go home and have fruits. Or I'm going to go home and have nothing. That's it. You have breakfast? No.
So she has breakfast because she's breaking her fast at 3. So I tell my patients, whenever you break your fast, when you have breakfast, it doesn't matter to me really when you break your fast. The things I try to stress to my patients are, as much as possible, we want to focus on these aspects for health. We want to focus on giving our gut time to rest, because when our gut rests, that's when we're rejuvenating and healing. One of the worst things is for us to eat all day long, snacking. Many people have one meal because they start and then just keep going and they never stop. So they're just having one meal for the whole day. That's the worst. That's the absolute worst, because it's constant bombardment of the stomach, the GI tract, and very little time to heal. So ideally, we want to eat, as we were admonished in our health message, twice a day if possible. If 3 times, that's fine, but it should be nothing before, in between, or after. So if you choose to eat 3 times, you have those 3 set times that you eat. If you choose to eat 2 times, you have those 2 set times, and not eat anything before, in between, or after. For you, if you choose to eat at 3 and 6 or 7, 3 and 7, that's fine, as long as you're eating at 3 and at 7. The only thing is if you're in bed by 10, it's hard to eat at 7, but I mean, everybody's case is different, but you want to stick to the same principle. So you want to eat 2 or 3 times a day, nothing before, in between, or after, and not 3 hours before you go to sleep. So if you eat at 3 and 7 and go to bed at 10, that's okay. Make sure that those are nutrient-dense meals. So your husband is packing for you a nutrient-dense lunch, so he's focusing on your big salad. He's giving you a great he's giving you a great salad. He's giving you healthy lentils and maybe root vegetables like sweet potato or any grain that he has in the house. He's giving you a little bit of nuts, some chia seeds, some flaxseed, and that's your first meal. You ate it. You're done. You wait till you get home now for your second meal. You're going to have your fruits at that time because you had the veggies at lunchtime. You have your fruits in the evening with whatever grain you may choose, and then you're done. So you're intentional about eating twice. In your case, there's no there's no space for a third meal because you eat your breakfast so late. So you have your 2 meals, nutrient dense. You've thought about them. They have good components, good parts, healthy parts. You're getting your 7 servings of fruits and vegetables, and you're fine. You're not going to eat all day long to be healthy. No, that's fine. Just don't snack. Snacking is bad. We snack when we're stressed and rushing, unfortunately. Yes?
Does that same philosophy work for kids? Because I just find that like little kids tend to be kind of more grazers.
Yeah.
Still long enough.
Yeah, so for kids, yes, it applies for kids. So they should have, there are families who have their children on 2 meals a day, but 3 meals is fine for them too. But, it's kind of a learned habit, snacking, because like you're just snacking. So kids can eat 3 meals a day and be fine. In many parts of the world, they eat at set times and then they're done. Then they come back for the next meal and they're done. They're not eating all day long. We provide the food that they need to snack, so they're going to eat it. So if there is nothing in between breakfast and lunch, then they won't eat anything. They'll just wait till lunchtime, and then they'll actually get used to it. Yeah, my husband raised this one here, Tommy, to not snack. So he actually just eats 2 meals, and he's good. Right, Tommy? Yeah. But yeah, he eats like a man. He eats, his fair portion, but I don't see him needing to snack. He'll eat a late lunch like you, and then his dinner, and he's done. He's not looking for food all day long.
Is snacking prohibited even if it's healthy stuff? I snack all day. I work from home. I can't keep my hands off the grapes every time
I know. Oh, that is so hard. Trust me, I empathize with you. Yeah, even if it's healthy food, Sister White says not even a peanut should pass your mouth in between meals. And my grandmother would say that to me, and I was like, oh, she's so miserable. Why is she saying that all the time? But she would harp on us, not even a peanut in between meals. So yeah, even healthy food, like if you're gonna have those grapes, have them with your meal. Just eat your. Are you a 2 meals a day or a 3 meals a day person? You're a 1 meal a day.
He has
Yeah, no. Actually, yeah, it's not good. It's not good. Have you heard of the concept of intermittent fasting?
Yes.
Intermittent fasting is a key way to fight disease. You can wipe out your autoimmune disease and your cancer and all kinds of disease, your diabetes, and by intermittent fasting. There are many different definitions of intermittent fasting, but the main point is that you're allowing a very long window of time for your stomach to be empty, nothing. So ideally, let's say you have a 2 meal a day person. If they eat breakfast at 8 and lunch at 2, and then nothing, they will heal a lot of diseases, a lot.
During that time, not even water.
No, water, yeah. There's no digestive energy going on with drinking water. That's just cleansing and detoxifying. But when you put in that grape, it's starting to work again. When you put in that nut, it's starting to work again. Cashews are healthy, but even if you have them in between your meals, your stomach is not getting the chance to rest. Your GI tract is still going. Your immune system is not up to par. Intermittent fasting is gold. Whenever you can master that, you eat 2 meals and you stop, you won't need doctors anymore. Even the orange, don't take orange juice or juice, because your sugar is going to go up. Yeah?
How best to implement behavioral change for people?
Yeah, that is the question. So I have my opinion, and I would love your opinion. How best is it to implement behavioral change to achieve these goals? So we've heard of the best way to be healthy and not to be sick. Okay, it's nice to talk about it, but how do we do it? Yeah. So please, what do you guys think? What do you guys think? Go ahead.
Well,
One meal as in eating all day, or just one meal by sitting down?
As a diabetic.
Even I went to see my diabetic doctor, and I told him I eat one meal a day. So I guess they felt it was strange. I was just preparing myself for whatever comes in the future. So I was just, but now I eat oatmeal in the morning. I eat it with nuts and berries, like blueberries and strawberries and everything. And then I take a little bit of powdered milk or something, and that's it.
What's the powdered milk made from?
Maybe I guess some like what the cream, the coffee cream or something like that.
Is it dairy?
I think so.
Maybe switch that one to a plant, like plant. So anyway, go on.
And then after that, I don't eat anything again till 2 or 3 o'clock.
Good,
And once I eat, I'm finished for the day.
good.
So
That's good. So you told us that you're a diabetic, right?
Yes.
So you did share that. So I think the only changes that I'd recommend for you would be, whilst you're still diabetic, I would remove the nuts, because there's a saying or theory that increased fats could make it hard for a diabetic to process sugar well. And I would walk after each meal. So walking for 20 to 30 minutes after you eat, even if it's walking around your office or around your house or walking outside would be better, but walking after you eat will help you process the sugar and increase your insulin sensitivity. And you must go to bed on time. That's a part of maintaining your blood sugar. So with disease, food is the foundation, but there are other parts that we have to put in when we really want to get healing. So the movement, the sleep, and keeping your stress down. So how do we implement these behavioral changes? That is the million-dollar question.
Whatever you do, you have to be intentional.
You have to be intentional. So break that down. How can I be intentional?
Make a schedule, write it down.
Write it down, write it down, write it down. Okay, I believe in that. So be intentional, prepare today for tomorrow, right? Write it down, have a plan. Okay, so think ahead. Think ahead, I'm going to behave this way. Let me plan how it's going to happen. Okay, that's one thing, okay? Anybody else?
Don't buy anything that you're not supposed to eat. Amen.
Okay, so let me ask you, I believe in that 100%. Do not buy anything and bring into your house that you should not eat. But how about when you're buying it for other people? How do you manage that? How do we manage that? That can be very hard. That can be very hard. Huh?
Cannot be trusted.
You cannot be trusted. No.
That's part of it. When you're making that plan, you have to think about, is it just for you? Do you have other people you have to care for?
Yes.
And then I was thinking between working versus not working. When I'm not working, if I have a day off,
Yes.
I feel like eating.
Yes.
I'm not
Yes, I do believe that that's, so all these points are very key. You have to think about tomorrow, today, be intentional, make a plan, and don't bring anything into the house that you should not eat. And I do believe that even though we all eat differently may have different desires of what we want to eat in the house, I think that the community that you surround yourself with has to also eat the same way. You know, it's very important. The blue zone people, when they go home, they're not struggling with trying to see if they're going to eat those Doritos in the cupboard or not, because there are no Doritos in the blue zones, you know. People don't bring those things into their homes. Everybody is eating the same way. They're all eating all these vegetables and all these beans and all these, whole grains. They're all, the community has similar values. So, just to be transparent, when these kids were small and I could control everything that was in the house, we were all really on point, because there was only a certain kind of food in the house. Now that they're bigger and they have different desires, sometimes you feel, I don't want them to suffer. So you're bringing junk food. And then when the junk food is there, they eat it and everybody else eats it. But guess what? Everybody gets sick, including them. When you start to have a lot of mucus and constipation, and then you're like, was that really a treat, or was that like something that was not good for them? So everybody has to be eating the same way. I mean, a whole food plant-based diet is not a punishment. It is a joy. It's an investment, it's a joy. I mean, God's whole foods taste amazing.
Get an accountability partner.
Yes.
Because we embarked on a 30-day of fasting, 40 days of fasting with a group of people from the Brockton Church. And it was community. We were holding each other accountable. We were reading the same material and discussing it amongst ourselves and the rest of it. But by virtue of it being a community thing, you wanted to keep the commitment because you were going to be the missing link or the broken link.
Mm.
The whole purpose of why you're fasting. So I think if you find an accountability partner or an accountability group, I think it would make it a whole lot easier. And to give credence to what you mentioned earlier about if we did intermittent fasting, we wouldn't have to go to the doctors. I play soccer, and I'm not a young man anymore. And, you know, when I'm done playing soccer on Sundays, I feel some pain the next day. That whole period of 40 days, nothing.
Mm.
I told my wife
Mm.
the other day, I said, hey, I got to go back to what we were doing
Yes.
because I feel pain again.
Yes. Yes, 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 yes. Can you tell me, what kind of fasting were you doing? Can you tell us more about that fasting?
I think we started off first week with just water, right?
Water for how long?
For the whole week.
Water for a whole week.
Yeah, yeah.
Just water
Just
for a
water.
whole week.
And then it was
7 days?
7 days. Then it was juice.
Did you put something in?
Nothing. Just water.
How about electrolytes, sea salt?
Nothing. Just water.
Wow.
And then we went to, after that 2 weeks, we went to juicing.
Wow.
And it was, for me, it was just juice, as in juice extracted from the plants.
Yeah.
So like from spinach or whatever the case might be, and apples and all that, that was it. It wasn't like you buy juice from the store.
Wow.
There was no preservatives.
Wow.
And I was perfect.
Yeah. I mean, what you described there is better than medicine, literally. We know that fasting melts away cancer. We know that fasting resets the immune system. We know that fasting will melt away rheumatoid arthritis. I mean, there are studies showing that. Where's my rheumatoid arthritis lady? Yeah, isn't that you with the RA? Right? You said you had RA, right? Studies have shown that 3 days of fasting, poof, swelling and inflammation goes away. You said you? Yeah. We know that fasting treats autoimmune conditions. So, and then you felt the evidence. You were still playing when you were fasting?
Yes. That was stuff.
He didn't play the week that he did water.
Yeah.
But after, when we went to juicing, he went back to playing soccer, going to the gym. The third week, it was smoothies, but he decided to stay on juicing because he doesn't like the texture of smoothies. And then the last week, we were supposed to be able to introduce salads.
Wow.
But I
But
continued.
he just kept juicing. So he juiced for 3 weeks.
What machine do you have?
It was a gift from my dear wife. I have no clue what it's called.
Oh,
But
okay.
it's a powerful machine. It's almost commercial type. And
Oh.
it really climbs everything up.
No, that's an amazing way to fight disease and to reset. That's very good. Yes. Yeah. Yes. Yes, I've listened to their podcast. Yeah, no, that's fasting and that's why intermittent fasting, if you do that for the rest of your life, given long periods of no food, that also is very healing. So definitely go back to intermittent fasting. You know, eat the fruits that you like, but eat them with your second meal. Yes, but
I really love the thought about you speaking about community, how to help each other, because it says there in Hebrews that, all the more that we know Jesus is coming, we should be of encouragement to each other in everything. And so I'm going to bring up the subject potlucks.
The potlucks? Yeah.
And so, what did you think of our potluck today? I was really pleased in many ways.
Yes.
Really.
Yes.
I mean, there was water actually, and
Yes.
there was food. And
Yes.
there was, by the way, should we eat the food before we eat or afterwards?
Sure. So your potluck today, I agree, was delightful. It was very good. The only thing that you could think of if you wanted to for potluck would be maybe to provide water for folks to drink before they eat so they can get the water down, maybe a cup or two. So find some way for it to be natural for folks to drink before, if they want, before they eat. And to have, the only thing that was missing, I did not see that big green salad. I didn't see it. That's the only thing. But everything else was perfect. The beans,
There was not a load of cakes.
no, I didn't. The fruit was amazing. I had my two plates of fruits. It was great. I didn't see any artificial juices. It was very nice. That kind of meal will help somebody who's struggling understand how to eat better. The only thing is we need those greens as medicine. So maybe have one designated person be the salad person, and every week they bring a huge thing of greens. And not just greens, but just a mixed salad with greens and broccoli and cauliflower. Just a whole bunch of stuff in there. Carrots and tomatoes and everything in there. But it was very tasty. I enjoyed it. Yeah, but that was good. You have a question?
Yeah, many years ago, I was trying to be a vegetarian when I first came to this country.
Yes.
And I did it for 6 years. But then I got married and my husband was eating meat and I ended up going back. But because I didn't know exactly how to do it and I became anemic because I didn't do it right. I did it for 6 years. And
Yes.
since then, my husband I got now, he loves me, and so I don't know.
What happened to okay, awesome. All right, so you became anemic on a vegan diet, and that's another case of two things: not eating enough. When we're vegan, we need to eat a lot of vegetables and high nutrient-dense foods. It's so important because when you compare plant iron to meat iron, they're different. The meat iron is heme iron. It's absorbed more rapidly and easily. So just a little bit of meat and you get, the iron you need. The plant iron is less amount in the food, but it has other beneficial components slowly absorbed, it's less in the food, so you have to eat more of it, and you have to make sure it's paired with vitamin C. So iron does not absorb well without vitamin C. So let's say you got to think of, okay, when I'm eating my lentils, I need to have a salad. That should be a part of how we're eating. But the salad with the bell peppers and whatever, the asparagus has the vitamin C and the Brussels sprouts that help us to absorb the iron. So we have to be pairing that way, or lentils with our vegetables, thinking of vitamin C to help to absorb the iron better. And the iron in plants is healthier because you won't ever get overloaded. Sometimes high heme from meat can lead to inflammation because it builds up. We can't remove it as easily. And so I have, if you wanted to take if you wanted to snap here, I have this QR code to show plant iron versus animal iron. But I've treated a lot of vegans who are iron deficient with changing their diet up, making sure that they look out for the vitamin C and the protein and the high iron foods, and their iron their anemia turns around. So it's a problem that can be easily solved. Lots of vegetables. If you don't remember anything else I said today, we need to eat more vegetables. We need to eat more. We need to eat more nutrient-dense foods. And I think this one is what? Protein. Okay, how to get enough protein on a plant-based diet. So this will just take you to another link that will give you more information. But no, it's really God's diet, so he's not going to have us be ill on his diet. We're only going to do well on his diet. We're only going to do well. Nutrient-dense foods. So I don't have anything in particular on just nutrient-dense foods. I just have them in their categories. Because when we think of foods, we're mostly focusing on 5 things, you know, 2 things, macronutrients versus micronutrients, macro and micro. And our macros are just 3 things, or proteins, carbs, and fats. Proteins, carbs, and fats. And our micros are our vitamins and our minerals. So the foods that are heavy on those would be, let's say for our micros would be our fruits and our vegetables, a lot of elements or electrolytes that are dense. And our protein-dense foods are the ones that I separated out here. I have foods rich in protein, rich in calcium. Let me see what else I have here. So this is iron, and this is calcium, because that's always an issue, right? How do I get enough calcium for my bones if I can't drink milk, cow's milk? And so this one here shows you how much calcium is in vegetables. It's amazing. So this is the top sources of calcium in certain foods. You need about 300 milligrams twice a day of calcium, so about 600 to 900. And this shows you that soy milk, almond milk, tofu is high in calcium, chia seeds, bok choy, kale, beans, almonds. So that there gives you calcium in plant-based foods. But no, I don't have one slide on just all. They're broken up.
I'm vegetarian from birth, so it's always hard for me to find nutrition for that on a daily basis. And I don't know if I'm taking in the right amount, on a given day. So I'm always wondering about, the balance. And number 2, protein being a big thing for me.
Yes, because you're so active.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, once you focus on, so for your proteins, focus on a good amount of your beans, peas, seeds, nuts. A lot of protein there. All right, guys. Did we answer your question about behavioral change? Did you get any good tips? Did you have any other points? Because that was the $1 million question.
Yeah, it is a $1 million question. The question, of course, is that, I'm personally going through some kind of sponsorship on that level. In a small way, to build things. It's not just me, it's everybody what needs them. So I think that often when it comes to problems, we see a lot of really wholesome options.
Yeah.
The church that we want that. But in terms of like the issues that push around food, they're complex.
Yeah.
So, anyone who has ideas on that, I'm willing to hear more of their ideas on it, because I would just tell you, your accountability partner should be forgiven.
Yes. I'll tell you, that is true. Like, we did the 40-day fast, and I started on the water journey. I couldn't survive 7 days on water. I am a school principal, and I'm always moving with these little children. So by day 2 or 3, I was like, okay, I need to eat because I have no energy. So then my accountability partners allowed me to have 1 meal, and that was the first time I ever fasted also.
Oh, look at
I
that.
had never fasted before. And then I jumped into a 40-day fast.
Wow.
So they allowed me to have 1 meal a day. And then I was fine. So I had 1 meal a day. And for the most part, I had a salad.
Oh, okay, that's good.
That was the 1 meal I did for 40 days.
Oh,
But that allowed me
nice.
to survive and still do all the things I needed to do. So yes, the accountability partner should be forgiven.
All right. Awesome, awesome, guys. All right, well, I think we can wrap up unless anybody has anything else they wanted to add or say or ask. You guys were amazing. I love the questions. And, you know, I want us to remember that God's ways are best. Please never doubt his ways. The world does not know the answers. God has the answers. He really does. And so we can trust him even when we can't trace him, and he will take care of us.
Thank you, Dr. Yawingu. I think we have been blessed. We don't have enough money to give them for what they've shared with us. That's priceless info. So we want to thank you for coming out. We've been blessed by your presence. We're grateful for your presentation. And to your boys, y'all rock. Thanks for coming out. Yeah, I know it's hard, but mom and dad are doing God's work. So get on board with it. You'll be blessed. Our boys are about their age as well, and we have the same struggle when we get into ministry, but it's all for a good. Brethren, health is an important thing, and we can't finish the work of God if we're unhealthy. We got to be able to go out there and spread the gospel, and the only way we can do it is by following the blueprint. He's given it to us. It's very easy, just like everything else about God. It's simple stuff. If we just purpose in our hearts to surrender to him and do it, we can accomplish it. So I encourage you in your journey as you go out this week, promise yourself, make a commitment, a covenant with God that you will live right in all aspects of life, in all facets of life. You'll spend time in his word, you will pray, you will eat right, and all the energy and strength and healing will come from above. I would invite you to stand as we say a word of prayer, and please come back, Yawingu family, because we would love to learn more about what you have brought to our church family today. May God bless your ministry, and on your way back, may he grant you traveling mercies. Let's pray, family. Heavenly Father, we are so grateful for your word. Thank you, Lord, that you have imparted this knowledge to your disciples and then those that have written the book. And Lord, we ask that you give us the fortitude and the endurance to continue studying it, to learn more about your character, to learn more about you, and about the plan that you have laid out for our lives. Lord, we are of a sinful nature, and many times we don't do what you have asked us to. But in the name of Jesus, we ask that you have mercy upon us, and that as we go forward this week, Father, we will be better Christians. We will be better children of yours, and we will represent your character even better. Give us the strength to say no to temptations of food. Give us the strength to persevere in following your precepts so that we can have that healing. We can have the strength to go out and spread the gospel. We can even have such a strong relationship with you that in our words, healing can come, because that's promised in the word. So we ask that you give us that strength, Father, and help us to be true to your word. We ask that you bless this family, the Yawingu family, Lord. Bless their ministry, expand their territory. And as they go forward in doing missionary work, we ask that you multiply their resources and more folks can join them in this work that they're doing. May you bless and keep them. Bless our church family, bless our pastors, bless the doctors that are within our congregation as well, and bless the mission of Southern New England Conference as we take part of evangelizing this region so that you can come soon. We long to go home with you, dear God. As we leave this place, go before us. Grant us traveling mercies, we pray in your Son's name. Amen.